This episode has been brought to you by JustNForm.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to JustNForm.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this segment of MCSC. And also thank you all who helped us reach our great milestone of 10,000 subscribers. Man, that took so long. I'm just kidding. To be honest with you, I feel very blessed at this network. I feel very blessed on this channel because, let's be very clear about something. Telling the truth is not as popular, or is not deemed as popular as most people think it is. It's not it is not profitable either. And yet we have been able to reach a tremendous milestone because of you all. And we have no delusions about that. So thank you all for helping us reach that. We will continue to stay dedicated to the objective, unmitigated truth. And hopefully this channel will be able to continue to grow and provide you with the objective truth that you need and that this country needs right now. So thank you. And also, if you have not yet, make sure you follow us on Roku. Join the first independent news network to appear on Roku. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. You know how back in the day, during the 2015-2016 primary, and even during the election, and even really to some degree now, we used to joke that like Bernie Sanders could save a kitten out of a tree, or Bernie Sanders could, save someone from getting hit by a moving car, and it wouldn't matter. The media would figure out a way to either not cover it or spin it so that somehow he had set up, he had planted a tree 60 years ago, and he always knew that cat was going to get caught up in the tree, or that he had called a hit out on the person walking across the street, and then he told the person who was in the car that he had set the hit with, like, hey, this person is about to cross the street. Make sure that you cross it so that I can get the credit. That's how that's how bad, really, the media has been historically when it comes to covering the honest deeds of Bernie Sanders, especially the good stuff. Whenever he says something that benefits them, they're quick to jump on that. But the last thing they want to do, which, by the way, just is further proof that he is running in 2020 and they know it. But the last thing they would do is give Bernie Sanders credit. Now, this story is interesting, and I'm going to explain why in a second. But this story is interesting because it shows, once again, Bernie Sanders, I guess, just being Bernie Sanders and doing what Bernie Sanders does. Because a young intern was crossing the street in D.C. on the way to her guitar lessons. She wasn't paying attention, which is dangerous in D.C. For a lot of reasons. There should never be a point where you're not paying attention in D.C. I want to be very clear about that. And that's a different discussion for a different episode, but I'm just saying. So with that being said, Bernie Sanders is out by himself on his lunch break, walking, sees her not paying attention. There's a car coming, and he yells, to watch out. Mind you, he isn't the only person there, but of course, this is DC, so of course, he's the only person who's paying attention to anything that doesn't involve himself. And she kind of turns around, like, oh, snaps, like a deer caught in the headlights. Then she turns around and realizes who's calling her, and it kind of freaks her out even more, like, oh my gosh, I'm about to meet my idol. And then Bernie's like, ma'am, the car is still coming. You need to get out the street. And it's like, not like grabbing her or anything, but trying to, wave her like, hey, come on, you're about to get hit. Now, it's probably best he didn't physically grab her, because that, once again, would have been spun into some insane storyline. We know this. We don't have to guess it, because there were women who literally said they were planning on falsifying like sexual assault allegations so that they can get Bernie Sanders out of power. Do you all remember that? Because I do. So you may not have heard about this. A lot of people have not. For two reasons. One, Bernie Sanders didn't tell anybody. He didn't tweet about it. He didn't Facebook about it. He didn't post a picture about it. And even more so, which is, I think, once again, Bernie Sanders being Bernie Sanders, he actually did have a photo opportunity that could have been made out of it, because once people realized who saved her life, everybody ran over to him to question him, to glorify him and celebrate him and what he just did. And instead of staying there for that photo opportunity and using it as a political tool, in true Bernie fashion, he ran away, avoiding the attention, trying to go focus back on what he needs to focus on back in the office. And it was reported by the staffers that they didn't even know. And the reason why is because when he got back to that office, he didn't say anything about it. He just casually walked back in and casually got back to work. The only reason that his staffers knew about this was because they have Facebook and Twitter like everybody else. And they're like, what the hell? He didn't tell us this happened. Bernie Sanders being Bernie Sanders. Now, first of all, it's awesome that you saved that girl's life. That's, once again, you doing what you have been known to do, which is committing selfless, heroic acts. But I think this highlights a couple of things. One, if this was Hillary Clinton who saved that girl's life, oh my glob, we would have literally never heard the end of it. I'm so sick. People, if Hillary Clinton saved that girl's life, do you know how that story would evolve over time? It would go from Hillary Clinton shouted out into the street to Hillary Clinton jumped in front of a moving car, pushed her out the way, laid on the ground, pushed the car up, and it flipped over so the dog next to them couldn't be hit either. And also the rat that was crossing the street could be saved also. And that she didn't even break a sweat, and she did it in her $9,000 pantsuit. That's what the story would have evolved into if it was Hillary Clinton. There would have been nonstop coverage. She would have absolutely stayed there for the photo opportunity. She would have been interviewed by every single major leftist establishment media channel or network on TV and otherwise. That would have been, not even joking, that would have been one of the sole platforms that she ran on. Hillary Clinton, she can save you too. I'm not even joking. The storyline writes itself. If that had been Cory Booker, pretty much the same thing, except for, good God, the photo opportunity that Bernie Sanders ran away from, he would have, oh my goodness, he would have put out his own camera and handed it to somebody. Hey, let's take pictures real quick before you go to your guitar lesson. Hey, come here real quick. Because, whoo, Cory Booker's a camera whore. You never know if he's looking at the lens or not, though. It's always confusing because, he's looking both ways sometimes. Y'all didn't hear that from me. But it's Kamala Harris, same thing, right? Pretty much every Democratic rising star or current Democratic superstar, pretty much every one of them would have been touted as a hero in the mainstream media. But instead, this is Bernie Sanders, so nobody knows about this. It's interesting, isn't it? Because even though I disagree with some of his very problematic rhetoric on foreign policy, definitely agree with some of his problematic rhetoric in regards to Russiagate. Some people seem to believe that he is just this mainstream media, Democratic establishment sheep herder. And I don't, once again, know if these people know what sheep herder means. You can't be hated by the establishment and simultaneously be a sheep herder. For the 130,000th time, if you want an example of a sheep herder, you can look at no further than Elizabeth Warren. If you want the ultimate sheep herder, that is Elizabeth Warren. Hell, I believe Elizabeth Warren used to be a registered Republican. And although she's been in the Senate for quite some time, the issue with Elizabeth Warren is that she hasn't really done anything. And she occasionally speaks out, but by the time she speaks out, it's already too late. And I think this is the first like legitimate legislation that she's introduced. I can't remember what it's about. But she's finally introduced legislation. And when she introduced legislation, you know what she had to do? She held an entire press conference about it and told the whole world and probably planted somebody in the office and said, after November the 8th, I plan on taking a good hard look at 2020. That's a sheep herder. Cory Booker, absolutely sheep herder. Kamala Harris, absolutely sheep herder. They leech on to Bernie Sanders a lot of the times. But this man isn't a sheep herder, or else they would cover this. They would celebrate it. They wouldn't have created rules in the Democratic National Committee for pretty, well, they're not forbidding him from running, but they've put him on such a strict line to walk that if he steps out of line anyway, then he can't win. And therefore, he can't help people. And it seems to me that seems to be Bernie's only goal. Whether he's right or wrong about his approach at times, his goal seems to be using his platform to help the people who need it the most. Even girls going on there, heading to guitar practice, who are unsuspectingly about to get hit by a car. But also, it shows that even though this man clearly likes having a platform when it's time to tell the truth about something, he doesn't like being worshipped as a hero. And he's always said that. I think it makes him physically uncomfortable, actually. He doesn't like grandstanding. He only gets loud when it's time to get loud. Otherwise, he's quiet and reserved. Never shy about giving his opinion, but always shy to take the credit. It's pretty honorable and it's pretty noble. And that's why I believe that even though the critiques, there's a difference. The critiques about some of his problematic rhetoric regarding foreign policy, they're accurate. But the disingenuous, ad hominem personal attacks on Bernie Sanders, absolutely not warranted at all. And for some of the people who tend to be on the mega side of those attacks, you are fucking hilarious, to be totally honest with you. He's bending over for the establishment. He's taking it. He's a sheep herder. He's this, he's that. Okay, first of all, if you want to be perfectly objective and honest, if you are a Trump supporter, you want to talk about bending over for the establishment? Who picked Kavanaugh? He appointed Kavanaugh, who is deep state incarnate. He is he's on the legal side of the deep state. He legalized this shit. He authored the Patriot Act. He is the deep state. Every single legislation that Republicans have pushed through, Trump has signed off on and has not openly challenged, and every single piece of Republican neoconservative hardline rhetoric that they've spewed throughout his term, he's echoed. Wouldn't that be a sheep herder? He ran on getting out of the party, on standing out from the party, on bringing people into the fringe, having more Republicans register, having more people register for the Republican Party than any other time in history. He ran on that, pretending to be outside of the establishment, and yet he echoes every single Republican talking point. And you want to talk about Bernie Sanders bending over to the establishment? When's the last time that Donald Trump has critiqued the establishment, the Republican establishment? Now, vice versa, when's the last time Bernie Sanders critiqued the Democratic establishment? And the answer is often, pretty damn often. Every now and then he caucuses with them, but he critiques them just as many times as he caucuses with them. So if you're on the MAGA side trying to lob attacks at Bernie Sanders, when this man is literally out here saving people from getting hit by moving cars and not taking credit for that. Do you think if Trump did that, by the way? I mean, I know I don't have Trump derangement syndrome, but I am in no way disillusioned from the man that we are dealing with, which is a megalomaniac, regardless of the couple. He's done a few good things. I'll never be one of the people that tell you otherwise. I will tell you the truth about that man, though. I will absolutely tell you that. And if you believe that Trump would not have been tweeting for days about that, in the same way that Hillary would have, not the exact same way. Trump's tweets are clearly different from everybody else's, but Trump would have been tweeting for days. I saved a life. I mean, listen, people. I'm not going to say that I'm Superman. I'm just saying that if Superman was a president and I happened to be that president, then I would be from Krypton, okay? And that girl, seriously, she owes me her life, and I'm not saying that she has to give me her life, but I'm saying it would be great if she could, post that selfie of us so that people can know on the left how great of a president and how absolutely selfless and humble I am, okay? This one's for you, Colin Kaepernick. Okay, you get pictures with Nike, or you take ads from Nike, and I save lives. Okay, so clearly I'm the one that should be in this office, and anyone who critiques me is just they're a Democrat. That's all, bruh. Huh? Commentator 2013 said Trump was in an emergency alert. Freaking lovely. Yeah, he would. Oh, Fox News would never get enough of it. But once again, this should be a lesson to a lot of us. Maybe not you all who watch this channel regularly, but those who may just be tuning in, know who your allies are, know who your enemies are, and at the very bare minimum, know who is not on your side. Somebody was so happy because I think that a couple of restaurants in Florida, they gave a little raise from last year. I guess they're claiming it's from last year's tax proposals, or tax reform, I should say. I've never seen so many people get excited about like a 50-cent raise. You didn't get an extra $25 on your paycheck? What? First of all, no. Second of all, if I did, why would I be satisfied with just an extra $25 on my paycheck? Like, that's not really something to brag about. That's what I call giving you a bone so you leave me alone. That's what I would call that. But Bernie Sanders, once again, by himself, nobody to take pictures, no attempt to take credit for the issue or for the act. Decided, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to somebody other than myself on this walk. I'm going to make sure this woman doesn't get hit by a car. And as soon as the media runs up to me, I'm going to run away because I don't want the credit. It's not why he did it. Proving yet again that there are some people who are inherently unselfish and inherently altruistic, even when they do make mistakes. And that type of person is absolutely who I will always support. Always critique. I'll definitely always critique when necessary. But I just hope that you all consider these type of issues and how the mainstream media has disparate coverage when it comes to whenever Hillary Clinton claims to have done something good. I mean, doesn't even have proof. Remember, I flew into gunfire. Bullets were flying everywhere. That never happened. Well, yeah, but still, let's show it on the media everywhere. Versus when Bernie Sanders actually does something noteworthy. You know, it is not like he saved the world from cancer, but it is, by our current standards of media today, it is definitely noteworthy doesn't get a single ounce of television coverage. Not that he will want it, but once again, it's just more so exposes the hypocrisy of the mainstream media. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this segment of Mikasa Sukasa. I urge you all to join on Roku. Shout out to everyone who helped us reach 10K. If every single one of these subscribers, every single one of y'all, if y'all will go to Patreon right now, donate $1, what we would be able to do for you all with this channel would be exponential. Can't even tell you how much it would help us grow. We can't fight the Koch brothers funded media and the Soros funded media without your help. And I know you all want them defeated as much as we do. So go to www.patreon.com/MikasaSukasa, or you can even go to the link in the description below. October 13th, people, I'll be in LA, 8 p.m. Pacific at the Bernie Sanders coffee shop doing a meet and greet. So if you're in the area, mark that date on your calendar, and I hope to see you there. And going forward, remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.